I was always unafraid of reaching out to people I didn't know. So how I kind of landed that gig was, I reached out to someone on LinkedIn where I saw her profile. I was like, wow, this looks like a cool job. I wonder how she became, a manager, project manager at the Recording Academy. So I reached out to her months before I moved to LA, and she didn't reach out to me, back out to me right away. It took a few months. Like after I finally landed in LA, got everything situated, she so happened to email me back. And she emailed me back. She said, sure, I'll have lunch with you. So I ended up having lunch with her. We hit it off. And she actually said at that moment, I actually have an opening if you wanted to join the team. Or if you're interested in joining a team, it is obviously a lower paying role. It's a temporary position. So I know where you're at right now. I'm not sure if you're willing to take it. So I took a step back and I was like, okay, Jenny, you moved out here because you wanted to get into the entertainment and music industry. You can't play it safe anymore. You just got to take this role and get your foot in the door. So I said, okay, I'll take this chance. I'll take this, temporary position, but it's in the industry that I am passionate about. So took on that role, and, I went from a temporary position to, showing my hustle and my hard work and all the value that I brought to the team, really showed eventually. And I eventually took on a full-time role. And, next thing you know, I've been at the Grammys for the past 5 years. So that's kind
amazing.
of how I landed there. I know that was really quick, but
No, it's great. It gives us a very clear snapshot into your journey. You brought up a lot of points that I can relate to, staying safe in your bubble. We kind of had a similar path where when we took that leap of faith, for you moving to LA, for me quitting my corporate job, we both didn't really have a concrete plan, right? It was just, all right, we know that where we are isn't where we want to be. So let's move and see what happens. Yeah. And I really resonate too with your approach to reaching people outside of your existing network and not being afraid to say hi and connect and see where that can take you. A lot of my most favorite opportunities that I've had in my work has been through that exact venue of just reaching out, just making a new connection. And I think it really teaches us that, I really, really believe that in business and in your career, relationships, mentorship, those are two of your most valuable assets, much more so, in my opinion, than pay, at least at the very beginning of your career. So when you reached out to that person who was that project manager at the Recording Academy, how did you catch her attention? How did you make it so that it was an easy yes for her to come back to you months later and, go to lunch with you without feeling like, you were just, trying to take advantage of her time, let's say?
Sure. That's a great question. I was a recruiter at one point in my life, right? So I put myself back in those shoes and I was like, if I reach out to someone organically and I really wanted them to understand, this is an organic and authentic self that I'm giving them, how do I touch on those emotional touch points, right? And I thought to myself, I can't just say, hey, love what you're doing. Can I have a job? That's not going to work anymore nowadays, especially nowadays when you have everyone hitting up everyone with LinkedIn. It's kind of scary how easy it is to hit up someone,
Yeah.
So I feel like how I caught her eye was just, one, making it really authentic. I didn't say, hey, if there's a job out there, let me know. I said, hey, I really honestly want to pick your brain and understand how you got to where you did. That's important to me, because your career trajectory is potentially somewhere where I want to be. And then the second thing I think is key in terms of, getting that person to respond to you is following up. I feel that's where some people miss the mark is they just say, hey, I did my thing. I emailed them once, they call it a day. You can't just call it a day. If you really want something, you'll go for it and you'll do anything to kind of get it. So I followed up, after a few months, I was like, hey, I'm not really getting a response. This is weird. Maybe it just got mixed up in her mix of emails. So I followed up and she responded finally. So I think follow-up is key too.
Yeah, they say the fortune is in the follow up. So I agree
Yeah.
with that.